Hello everybody, my name is JP Koss. I am a game designer and the creator of the card game Bacon Project. And I've decided to make this video with the help of my coworker, Dodo, to explain the rules of the game that I just mentioned, Bacon Project. I figured that hearing the rules from me was the easiest way to learn, so here goes. So Bacon Project is a PvP type card game inspired by the likes of three titans in the same genre. And those titans are Hearthstone, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Magic the Gathering. The game was built to provide a familiar experience while introducing players to a newer set of rules and mechanics. Unlike the games that inspired it, however, Bacon Project was designed around a standard deck of 54 cards, replacing the obligation to construct a deck. Players are encouraged to develop their strategies in the moment using the capacities of a character. To put it simply, you like a character, you practice with that character until mastering the gameplay of that character. Now to start things off, I'm simply going to reveal to you the things that you need to play the game and how to set these things up beforehand. So thing one, you need a standard deck of 54 cards. Getting your hands on one of these bad boys shouldn't be too difficult, and chances are that you already have one. But if you don't, you can always buy a deck for cheap at any old supermarket or game shop. Thing two, you need character profiles. One for each player. Character profiles can all be found on our website, and all you got to do is print them. If you don't have access to a printer, well, you can always just save them to your mobile device and play the game that way. But if you don't have a mobile device, or you plan on playing the game in a busy area, you can either draw the profiles out on paper or memorize the profiles if you're hardcore. Thing three, you need a friend. Easy to find for some, while hard to get for others. Now I'm going to assume that you already have all these things, so let's just get to setting up the playing field. So there are two sides to the playing field, your side and your opponent's side. Position yourself in front of your opponent to determine the whereabouts of each side. Be sure to leave room for your character profile, and players must be able to see each other's character profiles at all times for the sake of inspection. You and your opponent must then extract a red ace from the standard deck. There are two in the standard deck. Position your ace anywhere on the right side of your character profile, and then shuffle the deck. Wait for your opponent to do the same, then set the deck. The standard deck is best situated at arm's length of each player. And that's about it. With the playing field now ready, you and your opponent need only draw 6 cards to start a game of Bacon Project. So, a player's side of the field is composed of 2 zones, the stack zone and the cast zone. Note that you can only place cards on your side of the playing field. I might as well specify that. Starting with the cast zone, here is where you activate your spells. And where is the information regarding your spells? That information can be found on your character profile. Now, understanding this part of the game is like understanding 50% of Bacon Project, so listen carefully. Spells are all paired with numbers, just like the majority of cards in a standard deck. Activating a spell is achieved by placing a card in your cast zone. The number of that card determines the spell. You can place multiple cards in the cast zone as long as the numbers form a sequence. This is called a combo. Note that 2 cards are enough to be considered a combo, and 3 cards is the maximum for numbered cards. The ace is a spell with an additional condition. You can only place the ace over a combo, thereby activating your ultimate ability alongside the other spells. With the cast zone explained, here are the rules regarding the stack zone. Now, the stack zone represents a player's level, health, and armor. Pretty much everything regarding the player's state of activity. Very few games allow a player to perform all their tricks at the beginning, and Bacon Project is no exception. The red ace is an indicator of that player's stack zone, and therefore that player's starting level, health, and armor. At the start of the game, it should be the only card in your stack zone. And while that is the case, its value is equal to your character's base level. Your level is an indicator of the spells that you can activate in the cast zone. You can only place cards in the cast zone if the number of at least one of those cards is equal or less than your level. So how does one level up to activate stronger spells? Well, there are 2 ways. sequential stacking, and jump stacking. Sequential stacking is achieved by placing a card from your hand in the cast zone with a level that is of 1 digit higher than your current level. An example of this would be, I am level 5, I have a 6 in my hand, I put down a 6 over the 5, and here I have stacked sequentially. Jump stacking is achieved by discarding either a jack, a queen, or a king, which are also present in a standard deck. You need only scrap one of these cards to increase your level. Note that this method only changes your level until the end of your turn, so it is recommended to sequentially stack after jump stacking. You can increase your level sequentially up to 3 times per turn. Your level becomes the number of the last card placed in your stack zone. This is also true for your armor. At this point, you ought to have understood the actions that you can perform during your turns. But how does one win the game? By exhausting your opponent's resources. Simply put, if your opponent cannot block a damaging spell, you win the game. But if you yourself cannot block a damaging spell, you lose the game. Damaging spells can be found on every single character profile, alongside some other types. A and D abilities, which stand for aerial and direct abilities, are the ones a player must use to inflict damage. Should the 2 types activate in a single combo, the damage is converted to aerial damage. Should a player be targeted by 1 or more damaging abilities, they must block the attack to remain in a playable state. Now to explain this final and fundamental step. Start by calculating the amount of damage that you need to block. Your armor serves to reduce damage during this phase and is equal to your level plus the card with the highest defense value in your cast zone. Reduce the upcoming damage by the value of your armor. Then discard cards from your hand until you've reduced that damage to 0. Each card blocks an amount of damage equal to their defense value. Numbered cards have a defense value equal to their assigned number, so pretty straightforward. The Jack, Queen, King, Ace, and Joker also possess a defense value. The Jack being 11, the Queen being 12, the King being 13, the Ace being 14, and the Joker is 0 while it is in your hand. You can also, or solely, discard cards from your stack zone to block an attack. Should you choose to discard from the stack zone, the card must come from the bottom of the pile. You can discard multiple cards from the stack zone on the same turn, in order of bottom to top. To finish up, a player's turn is composed of phases that determine the order in which that player can perform their actions. These actions are the draw phase, the main phase, the combat phase, and finally the end phase. The beginning of your turn is the draw phase, where you simply draw a card. After drawing that card, it's the main phase, where you can place cards in either the cast zone and or the stack zone. Cards you place in the cast zone only activate during the combat phase, once you are happy with the actions that you have performed during the main phase. Now, as mentioned before, the Jack, Queen, and King can be used to jump stack, and this is done during the main phase. That being said, they each have a unique effect should you choose to discard them for that effect instead of jump stacking. Starting with the Jack, you can use the Jack against damaging abilities. By discarding the Jack, you evade the attack. The Queen can be discarded during your main phase instead of jump stacking, of course, to reveal 3 cards from the top of the main deck. You then add 1 of those cards to your hand, and the other 2 are sent to the graveyard. And finally, the King. The King can be discarded during your main phase to take a card from the graveyard and add that card to your hand. A quick explanation regarding the Joker: it can be any one card, once placed on the playing field, but as long as it is in your hand, it cannot be discarded and it has a defense value of 0. And that's it. You now know all the fundamental rules of Bacon Project. There are still 2 more rules that I have not yet explained, which I categorize as advanced rules. If you wish to learn about these rules from me, you can stick around and I will explain these to you. On the other hand, should you wish to see a game in action, there is a link in the description below that will lead you to a video of us playing a game of Bacon Project. Now, I'm going to explain to you all the final two rules of Bacon Project. The first one is a fun one. You take the card that symbolizes your level. So if I'm level 6, I take that card. And you put it in your cast zone. This reduces your level to what it was previously. But now you can activate that card as an ability. You can even perform a combo over it or under it, and add an ace over it if you are performing a combo. Very simple, but it provides a lot of flexibility in game. The second rule is to do with pairs, and yes, you can use pairs in this game, but there is a slight hic, hence the fact that it is an advanced rule. You need to look onto your character's base level. If I am playing Hector, my base level is 4. What this basically means is that the pairs I can use are a pair of 2s, of 3s, and a pair of 4s. But I can't use a pair of anything other than those 3 cards. If I was playing Raven, I can use a pair of 3s and 2s, but not a pair of 4s like Hector, because my base level is 3. What happens then? Well, the pair is treated as one card. It is not treated as a combo. And the card it becomes is the card of your choice, so long as it is equal to the sum or less. Which means that if I'm using a pair of 3s with Raven, it can be a 6, but it can also be a 5 or a 4 or a 2. Very strange, I know, but it can offer a lot of flexibility, like with the other advanced rules, but it is more costly. You can use pairs in a combo, and that's it.